seconds away on Studio 5.
You're dating Jesus is so far out of your league.
Comedian John Crist makes history on the Winter Jam Tour. Plus,
surrounded by your glory, one will my heart feel.
Get the story behind Mercy Me's mega hit from the country singer helping to bring it to the big screen. And then,
I figure if God were to have a leather bag business, then he would make them high quality leather bags.
hundreds of lives are being changed, and it all began with one leather bag. Studio 5 starts now. And welcome to Studio 5. John Crist is on deck in a moment. But first, let's get to the countdown of the top headlines in the world of uplifting entertainment news. Here are the first two. At number 5.
Make room for Make Room.
Jonathan McReynolds' Make Room project is available now.
No, they come from the Father's heart, not the sky, not chance, but truth is, I'm not lucky, I'm loved.
And with that new music, McReynolds opens up about struggles with loneliness and overcoming them.
I think if you look and listen to my music, it's always a snapshot of where I am in life. It's always, you know, I'm writing the songs. This is like a diary almost, a journal. And so, you know, this particular stage of my life, while career and people, relationships take so much space, it's definitely an objective of mine in this season to be making room for God.
At number 4.
More than 10 million people tuned in for the singing, good and bad. American Idol's return drew 10.3 million total viewers on ABC, down about 700,000 viewers from the last season premiere on Fox in 2016.
I moved to Nashville to do music in 2016, and then I actually got hit by a car and paralyzed from the waist down.
The return of the series also marks the return of emotional contestant journeys, like this once paralyzed singer.
I look down and sure enough, there's my legs on the bed, but I can't feel them. And then I'm in bed one night and I see my foot move, just a little.
When I heard about what happened to David, I was devastated, and I wrote him, hopefully encouraging him to not give up at all.
Isn't she pretty? Truly the angel's best. Boy, I'm so happy, 'cause we have been heaven blessed.
Did we say you're going to Hollywood?
You didn't.
You're going to Hollywood.
The countdown continues throughout the rest of today's show. And when it comes to countdowns, John Crist is counted among one of the leading Christian comedians in the industry. With more than 300 million views online, he has shared the stage with some of the biggest names in the business. That's why John Crist is this week's Studio 5 interview.
Welcome, Mr. John Crist. I like his interaction with the audience.
It's so real, I think. So many things he said, I was like, yeah, I thought that. Yes, I thought that.
I think there's something for everybody in the show.
You ever had someone ask you to pray for something so stupid, you're just like, I ain't praying for that. If we had to have a draft with this group of 18 to 25-year-olds we got running around, I don't want to be going to war with people who can't adult today, okay? Just a bunch of life coaches and bloggers. We'll help.
One of 8 children?
Yeah.
Homeschooled?
Yeah.
When did you know you were funny?
Oh, man. I probably informally, since I can remember, I was always been around the guy at church making girls laugh or whatever it is. I've said that if one of 8 kids, you kind of need something to get attention. And I was always the guy that I didn't really have any formal skills, you know what I'm saying? So, but I always was cracking people up. And I think the first time I was always kind of being funny, and somebody told me that I should try stand-up. Single girls, I love you, but listen, please, can we please just stop with the I'm dating Jesus talk? You're dating Jesus is so far out of your league. First time I did it, I'll never forget, I was in Atlanta, Georgia. I couldn't eat, I couldn't sleep, I was sweating, a lot of, I threw up in the bathroom before the show just because it's so scary. But somebody told me, they can't kill you and they can't put you in jail. So like what
can they do?
What is the worst thing that could happen? So that kind of put me at ease a little bit.
He's walking on water. You're about to walk into Payless for some shoes, okay?
Now, you've shared the stage with Dave Chappelle, Seth Meyers, Dana Carvey, Trevor Noah. What's that mean for this young Christian guy?
They've either come through my home comedy club and they've requested me to open for them, or I've been on tour with them, or whatever it is. So definitely Christian, or you know, you got you know, a Latino comic, or Jewish comic, or Muslim comic, or black comic, or female comic. All that in the comedy world, all that is secondary to being funny. So if you're like, oh, we got this like Christian guy opening for you, he's like, whatever, just is he funny? I'm great with it, you know what I'm saying? And this is the same. So that's kind of the great, at least in the comedy world, it's a great kind of equalizer where all that, any kind of agenda or anything you have, you are more than welcome to have if it's funny.
When it comes to Christian breakup lines, we got nothing. All we can say is, well, I don't know, God told me to break up with you. Oh, really, Vanessa? God told you to break up with me 2 weeks before prom? All things work together for good, but we ain't together, and this ain't good.
The church takes a nice little digging when you get up from time to time.
Yeah.
Say hello to Christian Alexa, the believer's alternative to the Amazon Echo.
Alexa, play Kanye West.
How about Matthew West?
Now everything you love about the Echo, except super Christian.
Philippians 4:13, I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength.
Always wanted to be a better Christian? Well, now you can with Christian Alexa.
Let no unwholesome talk come out of your mouth.
I saw a comment somewhere that goes, I can't believe this show exists. You should let the Holy Spirit lead you. And I was like, no, that's what we're saying. No, that's what we're saying. So like, if you say that church takes like that would actually be, to me, in defense of the church.
Hey guys,
what's happening?
I'm Corey.
Good to see you. My name's Nick. This is
Hey,
Molly.
Hey guys, welcome to Church Hunters. This is your first church. This is Creekside First Baptist. So while it is traditional, it's still pretty current. Just this year, the pastor started untucking his shirts.
Oh, that's good.
Big deal.
He does dress his age though, so don't worry. He's past the Osteen suit phase, but he hasn't gone full Giglio yet.
Okay, so there's holes in the knees or no?
Well, it's frayed, but no holes.
Frayed? No, okay, got it,
Yeah.
perfect.
It's taking a jab at us, at me, at people who do that, me included, where like, I just don't feel that comfortable in these seats. Like you have people in like South America or in Africa like sitting on the dirt really to like, and walking miles. And in China, it's literally illegal to be a Christian. These people are hiding and look at us here. And so it's, I feel like if there is any ribbing or maybe roasting of the church or Christian culture, I like to say it's not me pointing at you guys, it's me like shining a mirror at like I'm in the front of it. I'm like, look at us. We are not you guys, because that's a lot of times, you know, it comes off as if somebody's making a joke about Christianity in the public forum, whether it be on social media. We are very defensive of it because you're like that. You're an outsider. You're against us. And I'm kind of being like, hey, I'm with you. Like, I grew up here. I love Jesus. I think the local church is our only hope. That being said, we do some weird stuff, you know?
Oh, I was gonna go to Macy's, but Dillard's is having a sale. Man plans his steps, but the Lord directs his path. Look at these purses. 30% off. All things work together for good. Oh, would you look at these here. Run and not grow weary, walk and not faint.
One of my favorite that you've done is the woman who's in the mall and everything has because I've got those women in my family, so I'm just like, oh my Lord.
Dude, how does he know? Yeah, it kind of would be inspired by my mom probably, or I got an aunt that's similar to that. But everybody, like a perfect video has to be a perfect combination of truth and humor. So like if it's, let's say like you're watching whatever sitcom you like to watch. It's funny, but you're not gonna be like, I have to show my coworker or my mom or my aunt or that's not, so it's funny, but it doesn't have the truth to connect with you. But sometimes it's too true and it's maybe a little convicting. You're like, I'm gonna take this one in, but I'm not gonna. But then the perfect combination of truth and humor will make you laugh at it, and it'll connect with you on a heart level, and you gotta say, I have to send this to, or I know exactly this person. That's the best kind of video you can get. Yeah.
Awesome. Right now, John Crist is making history as the first comedian ever to perform at Winter Jam, Christian music's largest annual tour. That tour continues in the U.S. throughout the end of March. Still ahead on Studio 5, it is the most popular Christian song ever recorded.
I can only imagine.
But the story behind it is only just now being told. And welcome back to Studio 5. The countdown of the best headlines in uplifting entertainment news continues now. At number 3.
Adam, you have news on Kirk Cousins. What is it?
Lisa, the latest is that he is likely to sign with the Minnesota Vikings.
The word on the street is Kirk Cousins is inking a 3-year, $84 million deal with the Minnesota Vikings. It's another big step for this preacher's kid and vocal man of faith.
While I accepted Christ as my Lord and Savior at the age of 7 or 8 years old, I think when it really took root in me and I really took ownership of my faith was when I moved into high school and really started to learn what it meant to not just be calling myself a Christian, but to actually be a follower of Jesus Christ.
At number 2.
When you're weary and feeling small,
R&B's John Legend graces the cover of the latest issue of Relevant magazine, opening up about playing the role of Jesus in a live concert on Easter Sunday on NBC.
I grew up singing and playing gospel music, led a bunch of choirs as a kid, even up through going to college and everything. I helped pay my way through school by being a director of music at a church.
And he's pulling from the faith pages of his own life for this performance.
so how I got over, my soul look back and wonder how I got over. Come on.
And we have one more headline in this week's countdown. It is coming up shortly. Right now, we want to take a look at the story behind the most popular contemporary Christian tune of all time. It is now a major motion picture. Here's your first look at I Can Only Imagine.
Let me ask you something, Bart. What are you running from?
My dad. He
beat you, didn't he? You ain't got no poker face, kid.
And I carry that. I have to live with that, you know? I always will.
Then write about it. Stop running from it. Let that pain become your inspiration. And then you'll have something that people can believe in. But to do that, you've got to face your fears, son. You know, Bart, I may not always believe in your music, but I do believe in you. You sold me, kid. Don't quit.
And that was a powerful scene from the film I Can Only Imagine. And joining us now is the gentleman you just saw in the film, Trace Atkins. He portrays the manager for Mercy Me in this film. So tell me, how familiar were you with the story behind this popular song?
I didn't have a clue. I had no idea where the inspiration for this song came from. Of course, I was familiar with the song, but then I read the script and was just blown away by the whole story. So I signed on immediately after I read the script. I told the directors, yeah, sure, I'd love to be a part of this, and I'm really glad I got to do it.
How would you describe the message of this film?
Well, it's all about hope and redemption, you know, and that's what Andy Irwin told me, one of the co-directors of the movie. He said, look, this is a story about redemption. And I said, well, sign me up, because I could use a dose of it. So that's really, that should be the takeaway from this film, that nobody is beyond hope and nobody is beyond redemption. And that's what this film's about.
In the scene we just saw, you really give Bart a wake-up call because he is ready to quit. What can you tell us about Mr. Brickell and his relationship with Bart?
Well, it was very close, and this was a first for me. I was portraying somebody that not only was alive, you know, an actual human being, but he was there on set most days, and so I would get to talk to Brick before I would do these scenes, and how intense was this? You know, what attitude, how did you approach him in this situation? How sympathetic were you, and all these things, and then after the scene, I would say, was that even close? And so I got to have all these conversations with him, and that scene, you know, Bart was about to quit. He was about to go home and just say, I'm done with this. And so Brickell sat down and had a heart-to-heart with him and told him, you know, I don't think you should hang it up yet. I think you should, you know, I think you have something to say, and as soon as you find your voice, everybody's going to have a chance to hear it. And you know, that was a very important moment in both their lives, and I think it came across pretty good, pretty real, and that's how it actually went down.
Thank you so much for your time. It was a pleasure talking to you, and once again, you do an amazing job in the film.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. It was a pleasure speaking to you.
Up next, here on Studio 5, we travel to Mexico.
They knew me when I got here, and the person that was there and the person that I am today, it's quite different.
To meet the team behind the leather bags that are changing lives. And welcome back to Studio 5. We have made it to the final headline in this week's countdown of the best headlines in the world of uplifting entertainment news. At number 1.
Listen, y'all, we are not fighting for victory. We are fighting from victory.
Bible teacher Priscilla Shirer returns to the big screen this week in I Can Only Imagine.
Look, I am a Millard. Okay, you don't understand. Millards play football. Millards do not sing.
You have a gift, Bart. And in my class, you will be required to use it.
Shirer plays Mrs. Fincher, the teacher who discovered Mercy Me's Bart Millard had a voice and demanded he use it.
Was there a Mrs. Fincher in your life?
Oh yes, I can name several actually, people that saw things in me that I didn't see in myself and just sort of thrust me out there and said, you're gonna do it whether you like it or not.
Look, Miss Fincher, I like you, okay? You seem like a real good person. I respect you, but there is no way, ever, at all, ever, that you are gonna get me on that stage.
Mm-hmm.
There's a bright golden haze on the meadow.
Well, that wraps the week's countdown and brings us to a Texas couple who is enjoying great success in their leather bag making business. They've gone from selling bags on eBay to major production facilities in Mexico and Fort Worth, Texas. But Dave and Suzette Munson aren't just counting dollars. They're changing lives by showing their employees the love of Christ. The untold story of Saddleback Leather is this week's Studio 5 Bright Spot. That's the hum of Saddleback leather workers handcrafting the highest quality leather bags. The company's slogan promises they'll fight over it when you're dead.
My idea was after the funeral, after my funeral, that people would be like, I get it. No, I get it. No, I get it.
With that company motto, it's not a complete surprise the CEO has a leather coffin in his Texas office.
I wanted something that lasts forever. I figure if God were to have a leather bag business, then he would make them high quality leather bags.
For the full story behind Saddleback, we traveled to Leon, Guanajuato, Mexico. It's home to nearly 2 million people and only about 8,000 are Christians. Mexico is also where Dave Munson saw his very first bag created. It's a home away from home for him, his wife Suzette, and their children.
So I was a missionary teaching English down in here in Mexico, and I had this idea of this bag I wanted in my head. I thought like Indiana Jones would carry, something like that. So I started looking around for it, couldn't find it. But I found a guy making bags. And so I sketched it out for him. I said, hey, can you make this for me? No zippers, nothing breakable. I just want this chunk of leather. So he did. And I got this bag, and everywhere I went, when I got back from a year of teaching English, everywhere I went, people were asking me, where can I get a bag like that? And people tapped me on the shoulder and coming out of their offices and crossing the street, where can I find a bag like this? So I moved back down to Mexico for just a little bit to get some more bags made, brought them back up, sold them out of the back of my old Land Cruiser. And I had my dog sitting on the tailgate, my old black lab, Blue, and I hung them on the rack and had a sign in the window that said, "Real cool leather bags for sale."
What began with just one bag now includes all of this. This is Old Mexico Manufacturing, the company that produces Saddleback leather and employs more than 200 people. But this is not your ordinary factory. With 8 years on the job, this designer says meeting and working with the Munsons changed her life.
They knew me when I got here, and the person that was there and the person that I am today, it's quite different. Maybe I have more peace, perhaps.
Is your faith stronger?
Yes, for sure.
This began with your vision for a bag and having someone create it. So does it still pretty much work that way? You come in here with a vision and these people make it happen?
Yeah, I'll sketch it out.
Dave also has a vision to help his employees, paying them a competitive wage, providing childcare for them on site, lunch on site as well, and allowing churches to use the cafeteria for Bible study and services.
The heart has always been for people, and I was doing full-time ministry up until right before we met. And because I wanted to reach people, I wanted to let them know about what God has done in me, and I want them to have the same thing. So it's just kind of natural.
I'm the youngest of 10, and my parents always had the down and outers in our home. I would come home and there'd be someone that I'd never seen before, and they were invited to dinner. And I grew up that way. I thought that was quite normal. But it's amazing because I feel like God has given us a large platform to be able to do it on a broader scale, and it really is incredibly fulfilling for us.
I call it my church sometimes on accident. So I feel like these are my people, and God's put me in charge there, and we really care for them.
And we walk through some really tough times with these families, you know, and so I got to go into their homes. I visited their homes. We took some supplies and things that we knew that they were going to need during these difficult times. But so it's fresh. It's very fresh still for me because, you know, reuniting with these families yesterday and talking to them and asking them how are things going. And one of them telling me, my son is doing great and he's in the daycare now and my wife has a job here now. Thank you so much for the prayers. And, you know, him getting emotional too and just saying things are so different and we can't thank God enough. We can't thank you guys enough. So we're involved in these people's lives. It's not just a job.
So we thought, you know what? If we really want to reach these people, we'll show them how much we love their children. So the place where I was teaching English back in the day, in 1999, I called them up and I said, hey, talked to the director. I said, if we funded it, would you start a Centro Noé here in León and for the older kids of our employees and teach them English? Completely changes their life.
I knew when I met him that we would be doing ministry. That was a no-brainer, but certainly didn't know it was going to be to this magnitude. We did not know that.
And if you take the time to visit Saddleback Leather online, you'll notice Suzette's collection called Love 41. With that, she gives to Africa New Life Ministries and other charitable causes. And still ahead, here on Studio 5. Singer and songwriter David Dunn is here with an eye-opening lesson about how you can handle failure. And welcome back to Studio 5. We are almost out of time for this week's episode. So here's a look ahead at what we're working on for you for next week.
There is a place prepared for me, more beautiful than eyes have seen. When these burdens weigh me down, I won't lose heart, I will not doubt. Grace will
That was a snippet from Grace Will Lead Me Home, a track on David Dunn's recently released album, Yellow Balloons. We'll hear more about his new project in an upcoming episode of Studio 5. Today, though, he's giving us this week's final word.
Do I think that people know how to fail? No. And I don't really think that they ever have. I don't think that it's a new thing. Millennials, my people are all, they're like, don't know how to fail anymore. I don't think anybody really ever does, except for people who go out of their way, who overcome their self-doubt enough to put themselves out on the ledge far enough to where they might fall. Those are the only people who really have a chance of doing something that's actually worthwhile. I know that's a generalization, giant overstatement, but I do believe that's the case. And I think in every culture, there are a few people that are that way.
That's a great final word from David Dunn and for this edition of Studio 5. Until next time, reach out and touch me at Ephraim Graham on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and Snapchat. And then be sure to come on back and see where Studio 5 takes you next week. Bye-bye, everybody.